in the day when you taught me to live and I taught you to pray. We went in the battle together, no matter the weather, we never delayed. You gave me commands, I always obeyed. I never let you go astray. I never thought I'd see the day that you would come and just betray me. Sick of playing silly games, you never love me anyway. You should not have let me get away, cause now I'm moving for my prey. I'm bigger, I'm better, my mind is a weapon. I won't ever let up. You try to break me down and I'ma just get up. They ask me how I did it, I'ma just tell them I rose up. Survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. Staring at you from afar, analyzing every scar. Asking myself how we got here. Remember, this is who we are. I am not here for revenge. I did not come to make amends. Not here to repent for my sins. I just came here to win. I just came here to end. I just came here to fight. Show you everything you said I couldn't be. I became overnight. This for the blood, this is for the tears. This is for my pain and my plight. Two walked in, but only one of us is walking out of here tonight. I'm a survivor. For my life, coming back stronger. I will arise. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life, coming back stronger. I will arise.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 4 of the ANZ ESeries on a Wednesday night. Tonight, it's an even week, which means we got the Formula Fords, and we are coming to you live from Willow Springs in sunny California. It may look like a racetrack in the middle of a bunch of dirt, and you know what? That's exactly what it is, but that does not mean that the racetrack is any less challenging than any of the fancier racetracks that we're going to visit across the length of this series. I'm Liam Banks, alongside me in the commentary box and doing all the hard work and broadcasting as normal is Mitchell Patterson. How are you going, Mitch?
Yeah, I'm not too bad this week. I really need to talk to Ben about, I don't know, like getting your job.
Yeah, it's much easier when you don't have to broadcast. I just do the fun stuff and get to have a good time watching some mildly fast cars go around in circles, like we're watching David Atkinson did a few moments ago. Which was, we're going to see that a lot tonight because this is a very difficult track. Very, very difficult indeed.
Yeah, it does look like a very challenging one. I don't have a terrible amount of experience on this one myself, so talk to me a little bit about this track. What do you think, what makes this one special?
So the first thing you're going to notice is that the cars are turning pretty much the entirety of the lap. There's only one real straight to take note of, and that's this start-finish straight that we're watching Sean Doyle go down right now with somebody right behind him looking to get past and make a move into the first corner. And they're going to spend so much time in each and every corner. These aren't the fastest cars. They don't have that much cornering speed. And some of these corners are some of the longest corners I've ever seen. Look at this next corner, corner 2. You actually, once the tyres are warm, you're full throttle through here. No need to take off any speed, and you're just turning forever, turning, and then you crest the top of the hill, and all of a sudden there, you can see it. It tightens up a little bit, and it can surprise you if you're not aware, particularly on lap 1 and 2, when your tyres aren't up to speed. You then got this corner, which isn't too tricky, but it gets into this really tricky sort of double right-hander that tightens a lot on the exit, and it's blind. You can't see how wide it is, which makes it really hard to judge how much speed you can carry through there. Next corner is a tight left-hander, much tighter than it looks from the helicopter shot, and that's because you got a lot of elevation change. They're going massively downhill into there, so watch for people to spin there as they're trying to put on too much lock. You only need to have a little bit of lock, and the back end is going to start to step out, so you need to take off more speed than you would appreciate, and the more speed than you naturally want to when you first take that. A lot of drivers are going to have to learn that during practice or qualifying it now into qualifying. That's not a corner, you can ignore that, but you got this long sweeping right-hander that they're going around now, the sweeper, and it's actually almost in 2 parts, and it tightens a lot at the end there. And again, it's really hard to get the line right, get it figured out, what is the fastest way around there, because you've got to spend about 8-10 seconds with not much of a straight between turns 8 and 9. It's quite easy to actually wrongly believe that the one corner is actually 2. There is a little bit of a straight there, but in the car, it just doesn't feel like it. So really technical track, really difficult, lots of undulation, lots of long corners. Gonna see a lot of people spinning out in these back heavy cars tonight.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be... we've seen a few in... well, I've seen a few in practice. We didn't really catch the first part of that on stream. But yeah, there was definitely a few guys testing the limits and sort of losing it off into the dirt. And there is a lot of runoff on this track. It is... You said it is more than just a bit of tarmac in the desert, but it is also just a bit of tarmac in the desert.
In the desert. Yeah, the thing is, so there's not many walls to hit. Like, you're right, they've got plenty of runoff. Those curbs, absolutely lethal. When I was cutting some practice laps, every time I hit one of the curves, and they look small, I got wheel damage. So look for cars going off. Look for cars even having minor incident, just running over the curves a little bit. They can't do that here tonight. If you do that, you're going to get a bit of damage to your car. It's going to slow you down only a tenth or two, but if you keep doing that, you're going to get big damage eventually. These cars, no ground clearance, they just cannot handle the profile of curbs that we've got here. Look also for a few mounds on the right. If you go too far off, there's a few mounds that the car can climb and actually beach itself on. So if cars do go off track, they're going to want to try and get the car stopped as early as possible. You don't want to end up that hill into the fence, and later on you don't want to end up on some of these mounds that just beach the car.
Oh, we just saw Corey Bennett hit one of those there, and it really upset the car when he hit that. I would imagine that's probably taken a couple of tenths, because one thing with these cars is that they're light. They're like 400 kilos. And generally speaking, the lighter a car is, the worse it does when it comes to turns. Like if we had GT3s, you know, they're pretty heavy cars, or the supercars, they just eat the curbs. You just ride them. You know, if you're not hitting curbs, you're not going fast. Yeah. But in these cars, and generally speaking, most open wheelers, you know, a curb, depending on the size, it can definitely lead you to unsettling and certainly negative lap times.
Yeah, when the cars are about the weight of your average American, it's going to upset the cars a lot. If you get a rugby scrum in front of one of these cars, it's going to push it backwards because they don't have that much power, they don't have that much weight, but it's what makes them fun to race and why you see them sliding around so much. Because obviously, the grip that the tires generate, and they're only skinny tires. Look at them; they look like shopping trolley tires. But the grip the tires generate is proportional to the amount they're being pushed into the ground. That's why we want downforce, right? Because you're getting those tires being pushed into the ground without the negative effects of the weight when you're trying to corner. But these cars, they've got no weight, so the tires are like sliding along the ground because they're not being pushed in by anything. There's only 400 kilos, and look, the chassis of that car is not up above the tires; it's in line with the tires. So there's just so little pressure onto the ground from these tires. You're just going to get a little grip, and they're only skinny. So that's where you get that.
They're actually street tires.
Yeah.
That they run. In Australia, they run Advan ADV08s, which is a street tire. You could walk down to your local tire shop and go, hey, I need a set of 4 ADV08s in whatever tire size you need, and they'll walk out the back and they'll grab them out for you. I think they're about $300 a pop. But they are just a semi-slick, basically. Actually, they're not even really a semi-slick. They are a track-focused street tire. They've got lots of still got lots of paths to evacuate water out of, but yeah, they're a track-focused street tire, not a semi-slick. My apologies for any confusion there.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for that. I did not know that. Thanks for that information.
Yeah, they're so relative to a regular street tire, they are grippy. They are definitely grippy, but they're not particularly soft. So Formula Ford is a feeder, and it is an entry series. And the reason that they use the tires that they do is so that you can expect. I mean, if you're really dedicated, you could probably do a season on one set of tires if you weren't doing a lot of practice, and you weren't worried about being terribly competitive. Obviously, the real fast guys will put on a brand new set every race, but typically, it's common in Australia for people to go a few races on the same sets of tires, and that's why they use these street tires, is so that it's more affordable for those that want to go racing.
Yeah, it was excellent, and I believe you mentioned before on a stream that you've driven one of these things yourself, so you can attest to what the handling quality of these cars is.
They
like.
are, they run a 1.6 liter Ford Ecotec engine, which is why they're called Formula Ford, and they're very similar to Formula V, but a little bit faster. Chassis are almost the same. The series is almost interchangeable, frankly. But the Formula Ford is sort of the premier one for open wheel entry level in Australia. And yes, I have driven one, not a whole lot of laps, around the Eastern Creek short track. And when you're racing in iRacing, they feel slow, because you're used to going into, the IR01 or the W13 or an LMP1 hypercar. But when you get out of your daily driver and step into one of these things on the track, I will tell you, it is the fastest car that I personally have ever driven.
Yeah, it's one thing that
it's like 100. It's like 100 kilowatts. But when you put that into something that weighs 400 kilos, and again, still running street tires, but when you put 100 kilowatts in something with 400 kilos, you move really quickly. I think the 0 to 100 on these things is like 4.5 seconds, which is right up there with exotics.
Enough to blow your face off. In short.
Oh, absolutely. And they're quite difficult to drive as well, because they still use a clutch, and they are a 4-speed H-pattern gearbox. And those gearboxes are clunky. I basically spent most of my time running around in 3rd gear at Eastern Creek, because changing gear and navigating those corners in my first time in the car was actually just a little bit too much for my little brain to handle. So, but
yeah,
with that
enough.
weight, 3rd and 4th, it really didn't make that much of a difference. There was enough torque, and the apex speeds of these cars are actually quite high. Like they pull like 1.5, 2 Gs in a corner. It's a little bit less than a go-kart, but it's right up there with most of your high downforce tin top cars. So not your prototypes, but like it would pull the same Gs in a corner that you would, or more than you would get from like a GT3 or a GTE car.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? The technical specifications of any open wheeler is just amazing, and that's why it's its own category, right? That's what it brings over and above a tin top, and the people that can pull the most speed out of an open wheeler are those that are going to get pole position here tonight. And currently, that is Tim Vaughan. 2.5 minutes to go in qualifying. He's got the fastest lap. Sean Doyle right behind him in second. Brody Shepherd's just gone up to third place. Dennis Hancock in fourth, and Sam Chapman in fifth. They're the top half of the grid. In the bottom half, we've got Matthew Brent in sixth, Daniel Johnson in seventh, Corey Bennett in eighth, David Atkinson in ninth, and David Milne in 10th. Got to see quite a large variance in the lap times, and look for a lot of drivers to move up and down this field, because there'll be quite a large variance in the amount of time people spend in the Formula Ford. Some will be focused on their GT3s, their supercars, and will not be used to driving an open wheeler like this, and it's going to take them a while to get used to the car and to get used to the track, because it's not an oft-used track. It's not one of the big famous tracks. It's a small track in America.
You're right. This is not Laguna Seca.
No, it's not Laguna Seca. So you're going to get a lot of drivers learning the track and the car, so watch for them to get faster as they go through the night. And then other drivers, like Sean Doyle, I know drives a lot of the Formula 4. The Formula Ford had some really good battles with him on track previously, so look for him to be fast. Tim Vaughan obviously quick. Brody Shepherd, I know, spends a lot of time in the F4s and the Formula Fords, so he should be quick as well. Got no excuses. Sam Chapman, more of a GT4, GT3 racer. Well, mostly GT4 and GR86 actually. So look for him. Be interested to see how he goes. I'm not sure what his experience is in the Formula Ford, but the likes of Corey Bennett, David Milne, they're less Formula Ford drivers, so look for them to get faster as they get used to the car over the course of the night. And the free races we've got for you with a reverse grid top 10, which means the entire grid's going to be reversed, which is going to be really, really interesting. Going to really spice it up, particularly if these lap times don't get a bit closer over the course of the first race.
Can we quickly talk about Sam Chapman's livery? Look at this thing. It's gorgeous.
It is just a silver bullet, isn't it? It's a wonderful, simple livery, and I appreciate it, Sam.
I love that. That's good. That's gorgeous.
Sam also a accomplished broadcaster, so he's one of our broadcasting brethren. Hasn't done any broadcasting for the ANZ ESeries, but I've seen him broadcasting in other series and commentated alongside him. So forgive me if I cheer for Sam Chapman a little bit tonight.
Oh, look, I'll acknowledge your bias and we'll give it a pass for tonight.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to cheer for. Actually, he's not in the in this session. Is Orlando? Not Orlando Black. Come back to me. I'll remember his name in a second. Who was it that broadcasts on a Thursday? Tell me, Sam. But before you tell me, let's go through the grid, because qualifying is now over. We've got Tim Vaughan on pole, Brody Shepherd in second place alongside him. Then on the second row, we've got Sean Doyle and Dennis Hancock. We then have Matthew Brunt and Sam Chapman on row 3. Corey Bennett and Daniel Johnston on row 4. And at the back of the grid, David Milne and David Atkinson.
Now, I will say, I'd like to give a shout out to Donna Doyle, who is watching tonight. I hope that you have recovered well. We do remember about you. And big shout out to Ben in chat as well, who is kindly reminding us that we are being negligent to our viewers.
Aaron Obestella is the name I was thinking of, who broadcasts on Thursday night and told me I should stick to commentary.
Connor Nixon, I believe, is
they're not going to get
co.
Not going to get my support tonight. Just gonna call it out nice and early. And thank you to all of our watchers. So we'll do a better job of keeping it on the chat. I'm just going to reorganize my screen so that's more in the center of my vision. Too scary for Orbestella is one of the comments. I agree. I'm just going to go with that. I think he's scared of the Formula Ford. Otherwise he'd be out here. I think he's so scared of the drumming he'll get if he comes onto the to the Wednesday night broadcast and doesn't do well, given the chat him and Connor Nixon were throwing out on Thursday night.
You know what? I missed that. You're gonna have to talk me through what that was. If there's rivalry, I'm here to throw down.
Look, I drove poorly and it got called out for what it was. That's the reality of what happened. But in my head, they talk smack, and now I need an excuse to talk smack, and they're just not giving me any ammo. What a shame. So we're just killing time now while the drivers come to the grid. They'll be receiving their marching orders from Ben Faulkner, who's the head of the ANZ ESeries. Quite a remarkable young man, does a lot of stuff for Vermilion Motorsport and the ANZ ESeries. So he'll be reading them out, just the rules of engagement for tonight, letting them know what they can do when they protest, letting them know what the rules are around radio comms. They don't change round to round, they stay the same, but obviously we don't keep track of who is in each and every round. So every round he'll do a fresh rundown for everybody. So we'll be waiting for that whilst the drivers sit on the grid. Then he'll move forward the session timer so that the race can get underway.
It is worth mentioning as well that the series is still open for registrations. You can join at any time, and that's why we do these driver briefings before, because we might have someone whose first race happens to be on that particular night that may or not have been there for a previous briefing. And your membership gives you access to all of our races. It's not just one; it is all of them. So $10 for the season, and that gets you in. And I even think there might be a special going at the moment.
I believe there is. I believe there's a 50% off special going on to try and entice some new series. And I can see that timer's on, so they're getting ready to race. I don't think we have a graphic to show you the lights. And the race has started. Sean Doyle in the lead, Corey Bennett in second place, Daniel Johnson behind him. This is on my timing screen. It was saying Tim Vaughan's dropped down to 6th, but I can't believe that. That's not what I'm seeing on my screen. Looks like Tim Vaughan in the lead of the race.
Yeah, it's definitely Tim
And
Vaughan.
it is just
Sean Doyle in
Doyle
second.
in
He
second.
did drop back to 3rd, but it looks like he's recovered quite nicely.
Yeah, Brody Shepherd in 3rd, Dennis Hancock in 4th, Sam Chapman in 5th place. Tim Vaughan already not under too much pressure, but Sean Doyle looking to go with him. Looks like quite a big gap between Sean Doyle and Brody Shepherd has already developed. The top through looking like they might get away. You've then got 3rd and 4th in their own little battle, and then behind that it's pretty darn close. This is the most technical part of the track. Look for some cars to make a lot of time through that double right-hander throughout the course of the race. Tim Vaughan taking a beautiful line through the left-hander, and he is already showing why he was on pole position. Just looking at his lines from this beautiful helicopter shot, we can see that he is pinpoint accurate.
Now, I will say, Sean was not far behind him in qualifying. It's like a tenth between them, and the toe is going to be good. Like, the toe is always strong, but if you're only a tenth faster than the car behind you, you cannot drop them. You will not get away from them. They will get you more than a tenth in a single lap just by being behind you. We can see it right now. Look at the way that he's catching up to him.
Sam Chapman's crashed. Sam Chapman, I saw him starting to go wide throughout the corner. Had a long time to watch that crash unfolding in slow motion. He got into the dirt, and I think he may have found the wall. I have to keep track of it. No, he's back on the track. He's going down the start-finish line now, but that's taken him out of contention whilst putting pressure on 4th place, and I think got a bit close, had to bail out a little bit, and that put him offline, put him onto the dirt, and from there it was game over. But look for him to be a strong contender when we get a reverse grid second race, and now we're going to show you what happened. So you can see him there putting a lot of pressure on Dennis Hancock in 4th place. Not sure if there's contact. No, just carrying a bit too much speed. Yeah, has to get out of it. Almost hits Dennis Hancock in the back. Has to put on a bit of left hand down to try and avoid it, and it just upsets the balance of the car, and that sends him careening into the wall. Don't think he's got too much damage, but it's going to be hard to recover from there.
It looked to me like perhaps he just got a little bit... like he was going for like a little bit of speed overlap, but was maybe too close behind him and had to lift so he didn't run into the back of... Was that David Atkinson or Corey Bennett?
Dennis Hancock.
Dennis Hancock. Sorry, I'm well out of position there. So he didn't run into the back of Dennis Hancock, and just lifting as he was coming out of that corner, I think has just unsettled his car enough.
Yeah, it did. When you've got power in the middle of a corner, what that's doing is it's pushing the weight of the car to the back. So of course, when you lift off, all of a sudden you don't have the weight at the back of the car. The center balance shifts further forward, and what that can mean is you're no longer pushing the rear tires down enough for them to be able to sustain the load you're putting on them. It looks like that's what's happened to Sam there. Like you said, I think you're absolutely right. He's just had to lift off, otherwise he was going to hit the car in front, and that's unsettled the car because all of a sudden it didn't have the grip at the rear that it needed to keep taking that corner, that velocity. Right, Sean Doyle's got plenty of velocity at the moment, doesn't he? He is right there in first place. Managed to overtake Tim Vaughan for the lead of the race.
Yeah, we did
And
see a bit of a swap here for the lead. I'm just going to take you back because we did just miss an overtake back here, I believe from David Atkinson. So let's see if we can bring this up.
Yeah, I believe while this happened, I think Brody Shepherd's had an
someone
accident.
went off track. It was,
Brody Shepherd, I believe.
is that what that was? Okay. So it wasn't an overtake for position, it was just a I've gone off track and thank you very much, I'll take that kindly.
Yeah, saw Brody Shepherd on the track map on the track map going very slowly in turn 5. Looked like he had a bit of an accident, perhaps on the entry to turn 5, perhaps getting a bit wide onto the dirt. Would be my guess, just thinking about the profile of that corner. And losing couple of positions, so he's now down in 6th place. And I'll be interested to see his lap time, so we'll know how much time he lost during that lap.
This battle between Sean and Tim is excellent. I'm really enjoying these two. They're so close to one another, like actually on the track. And how many changes for lead have we had now? Like 3? 4?
Well, has the lead ever been above half a second? Which in most
No.
categories would be instant, like immediate overtake opportunity. And yet in these cars, they can run within two tenths of a second as they are currently, and it doesn't even look. It looks very, very close, but that's insane. Like 2 tenths of a second, and they can just hold it there for lap after lap, corner for corner.
And
Here we go. At Tim Vaughan. It's going to be on the outside, taking a wider line on the entry. He's going to get around the outside. Surely not. Surely Sean Dawes.
He's going to give him
gonna
the
have
over-under, right?
Ben Nothing pointing out that slipstream is king. It certainly is in these cars because there's so little downforce. Running behind someone in the corners isn't really much of a negative at all, but the benefit you get going down the straight is huge, which is why we're going to see changes for position lap after lap, because, and this is one now on a start finish straight, a great example of what the slipstream does. Tim Vaughan just able to drive past him in a straight line because of slipstream, and he's able to go faster down the straight. But what it means is Tim Vaughan can't break away from Sean Doyle because, as you pointed out earlier, Mitch, their ability to do the same lap time is means that even if they have a poor lap and they lose 2-3 temps to the car ahead, that slipstream is going to overcome it. So even if they're not driving brilliantly, if Sean Doyle has a couple of poor laps, unless he does something really bad, makes an obvious mistake, he's going to stick with Tim Vaughan. And likewise, when Tim Vaughan's behind Sean Doyle, the same applies. So you just cannot break away when you've got two drivers as evenly matched as Vaughan and Doyle are at the front of this field.
Yeah, I mentioned that sort of at the start of this race, maybe during qualifying, I think it was. That, you know, unless you can pull, you know, a sort of a second and a half on the person behind you, you're just not going to get away. Slipstream is king in these cars, and that's one of the reasons that I really like this series as a whole, is that it makes the skill gap between drivers just a little bit less important, and allows for closer, tighter racing, because you don't really have to worry about like aero outwash or anything like that, and it sort of sucks the whole field up together.
Yes, and as well as watch Sean Doyle go to the inside into turn 1, going to get the move done before the corner, I believe. There's also been a change in position in 3rd, 4th and 5th place. So Danny Hancock now in 3rd place, Matthew Brunton 4th, Dwayne Shepherd in 5th, Daniel Johnson falling down the field as I speak. He's going very slowly down the start finish straight. I think he may have pulled into the pits after getting some damage.
We'll see if we can pick you up a replay of just what's happened with Daniel Johnson there.
It was in a battle with Hancock and Brunt for 3rd, 4th and 5th place, so I imagine there's been some contact there. Oh, well, that's him cutting across the road. That's, saw him on the left-hand side of your screen. That's not the racing line.
Yeah, we can see him. He's only just rejoined the track now.
So I wonder if the incident was at the start of the sweeper turn 8, that big, long, double apex right-hander that ends the lap. I wonder if he had an incident on the entry and decided to cut the corner to get to the pit lane a bit easier, or perhaps like span into the infield anyway and just kept going.
So back to our lead fight here. There's finally a gap of about a half second between these guys, which is the first time I've seen this happen. But look at how quickly Vaughan is snugging back up to Doyle as we come down the straight here. He was 5/10 as we were exiting the corner, and now he's back inside 2/10. It's like 3/10 on just a single straight. There's got to be almost a second's worth of lap time in this tow on this track, and this isn't a huge. It's not a massive track. It's like it's a minute 20, but it's a minute 20 in Formula Ford.
Yeah, it's an absolutely tiny track. It's why we don't see it in use that often, but it's perfect for cars of this speed. It'd be great for like this car, the GT4, the Mazda MX-5, anything in that sort of beginner category. It's going to be perfect for because it is so small, but it's also so technical. Just wanted to point out we had Tim Vaughan with the fastest lap a couple of laps ago, a 1:23 dead. Then Sean Doyle took the lead of the race, and he did. Guess what? A 1:23 dead on the lap that he took the lead. That's the slipstream effect for you. They're just trading fastest laps, as whoever gets the slipstream gets the fastest lap. And yeah, definitely pushing, aren't they? That's you don't get that kind of off track without really going to the limit of what the car is capable of.
You know, that's not going to be too bad for Sean because they're coming up to back up to the main straight, and he might just draft past him. Like he's within 2 seconds here, and we saw that it was like 3/10 down the straight. So, Tim's setting up to go wide, and Sean might send it on the inside there, or do you think he's going to be patient?
I think he's going to be patient. If I had to guess. There's no need. With the slipstream, it's so easy to overtake around here. There's no need to put in a dangerous move, and they've got first and second so wound up that you don't want to make a mistake and accidentally be the one that means that the two of you don't make it through the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to be a hero on the brakes in these cars, and I can't quite put my finger on exactly why that is either. But I think we're not seeing a lot of like late braking.
No, they don't respond well to late braking, these cars, in my experience. I think it's too easy to upset the back end of the car.
I believe you saw an overtake backyard between these two, I think. David Milne and David Atkinson. So we'll just watch this one here.
This is for 7th and 8th place, respectively now, with Chapman and Daniel Johnson behind this pair. Going off track.
That's what it is. I don't even know how that happened.
I think he just carried a bit too much speed.
The camera just cut at the perfectly wrong time for us to catch that one.
And Sean Doyle's just taken back the lead of the race from Tim Vaughan, going into the first corner, as they have done lap after lap after lap, just swapping positions and Tim Vaughan putting in a new fastest lap of 1:22.9. Not this lap just gone, but the lap before.
Now we are sort of starting to see our field just sort itself out now. We've got other than this gap between Tim and Sean, which just doesn't seem like it is going to end. Our field is spreading out. We've got Daniel Johnson still playing recovery from that mistake, but he's 10th in a reverse grid race, so he'll be starting from the front. Unless something else happens between now and then, which is still possible. We've still got 7 minutes left in this race. David Milne, 3 seconds back from Sam Chapman, who's 16 seconds from Atkinson, who's 11 seconds from Corey, who's 6 seconds from Brody, who is within 1 second of Matthew Brunt. And I think that pretty much represents maybe the only other real battle I think that we're going to get in this heat.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The field getting quite spread out. I had a few incidents throughout the race, which is just separated out the field. But the good thing about the format that we have here on a Wednesday night for the Formula Fords is we get 3 races, and that means we got another 2 times where all the cars are going to be put nose to tail and start the race again, which is absolutely lovely.
Now, let me bring up this battle, because Brody is catching. He's got up into that toe, which is, I don't know, I think it's gone by 1.5 seconds, but you definitely can feel you're in it at about 1.2. And so we're seeing in about What do we got here? 0.2 now. Oh no! He spent all that time catching up, and he's just spun as he was chasing him.
Yeah, was doing really well to recover from an earlier incident. Had got back up to be in that battle, and then throws it away.
Oh, we've seen a big shift here from Vaughn. He's fallen really far back.
Yeah, let's see what happened here at Monroe Ridge. Hopefully it's not contact.
They look pretty far away from each other for there to be...
So they've just gone through Budweiser Balcony, approaching Monroe Bridge. And just carrying a bit too much speed, getting onto the dirt, and then
no, and it sent him
losing
back
it.
across the rest of the track.
Did actually hit the fence as well. There'll definitely be a bit of damage on that car, and he's put himself under pressure for Matthew Brunt. He's in third place now. Matthew Brunt going to be pressuring him with the podium positions. That all but hands the victory to Sean Doyle, who's got a healthy 6.1 second lead over Dennis Hancock in second place. And I mean, on track, that looks like him going for corner 3 now, and Dennis Hancock only just getting out of corner 2. So it's a healthy lead both in time and in distance on track. Tim Vaughan in third, having to defend from Matthew Brunt. He's had a solid, not the fastest race, but a solid race with no mistakes, and it's put him on the front of the podium.
Now, I don't think this is too bad for Tim, right? I can spin a story now that says to me that finishing third in this race could set him up to get more points at the end of both of these heats. Okay, let me pitch you this. Sean starts at the back. Tim starts in 7th. Both of them are going to have to fight their way. They're the clear fastest of the field at the moment. They're the cream of the crop. They're both going to have to fight their way through the field. Now, if Tim can get a better run through the field than Sean can, so he will have to win the race. He will have to win the race for it to be worth it. But we have seen that Tim, despite being about a 1/10 faster, 1.5 tenths faster in qualifying, was just not able to pull a gap on Doyle just because of the quality of the racing and the tow on this track. So if he can build a big enough gap, because he does seem to be faster on raw pace than Doyle, if he can build a bit of a gap in the second race in this reverse grid, he can potentially pull more distance after he works his way through the rest of the field. And if Sean is just maybe a little bit unlucky, there is a chance that he could end up pulling more points in this race just because of the reverse grid. I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off now. Thoughts?
So I think my response is a bird in the hands with 2 in the hole. You'll always take the win that's on offer. It is a consolation prize, you're right, and it's going to help him. It's going to lessen the pain of dropping down to third from a battle for the lead and looking in a good position to win the race. But you'll still take the victory over that, because all it takes is one mistake, one problem getting past someone, and you've got or just a slow start, and you've got Sean Doyle past you and looking to get a second win, and you wouldn't bet against it in the form that Sean Doyle is in. A couple of incidents while you were chatting, we saw Sam Chapman have a bit of an incident that put him down into a battle with David Milne, and I think David Milne had an incident while they were battling. Not sure if there was any contact or if all those incidents were solo, but a few incidents a bit further down the field whilst we were talking there.
Now, so we're on board with Daniel Johnson at the moment, who is battling with... That's not the battle we are after.
Battling with David Milne at the moment, I believe, in the battle for 9th place. That's Sam Chapman ahead of David Johnson, but he's a little bit up the road, and I think he's got David Milne closer behind him. David Milne only 1.6 seconds behind him, but Sam Chapman 5 seconds ahead of Daniel Johnson.
Yeah, Donna Doyle is telling us to not jinx Sean before the next race. So with him 7 seconds clear of Dennis, maybe we just won't look at him again. You know, we won't do him the disservice of putting the camera on him.
Yeah, we won't. We'll just forget that he exists for a little while, and then shock horror when he wins the race, and we'll come back to him, and that way we can't accidentally put a curse on Doyle. He always enjoys strong support, no matter what series he's racing in. Donna Doyle's always there to support him, which is excellent.
Now, it looks like Sam is putting some distance on Johnson here. Although he has just sort of pulled back a couple seconds here. I was like we were at 4 and now we're not anymore. This is these guys are getting a bit sideways through these corners. Are you seeing this? Is this tire cook off, or are we just seeing maybe a bit of overdriving from these guys?
I think maybe a bit of overdriving would be my bet. They're in 8th and 9th. They've got not much to fight for. They know they're going to be at the front of the reverse grid no matter what, so they're just going hell for leather to try and get a result here. Just saw a change of position. Matthew Brunt getting past Tim Vaughan into the podium positions with only 40 seconds of the race remaining, so they're going to come round and they're going to do one more lap, I believe.
So
that's a big change.
Tim made a bit of a mistake there, and that's what's cost him.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to look at the lap times when he comes back, but he's now got Brodie Shepherd right up his tailpipe. Only half a second between the two of them as they go around the final corner of the sweeper. And now we're on board with Brodie Shepherd to show you that battle live. He's going to get a great slipstream all for this final lap as well. I think you prefer to be Brodie Shepherd at the moment than Tim Vaughan, given the advantages that slipstream has shown to provide.
You did say earlier a bird in the hand is worth 2. Oh no, Brodie! He was in such a great position to make an attack.
Yeah, and it just shows you how difficult these cars are to drive. Just puts a little bit too much left hand down, tries to take a tight line, and spins the car. That's going to let Tim Vaughan off the hook, get him in 4th place. And he definitely had a mistake, you were right. 1 minute 32.5 on the last lap, whereas most people are running 1:23s. So losing 9 seconds somewhere had some sort of incident, and that's put him down to 4th place after what was a battle for the lead for the first 10 minutes of this 15-minute race.
Now, we will jump back on with Sean because we don't really have any battles to show. Normally, I prefer to highlight tight battles towards the end of the race rather than just show someone passing line. We don't. It's not like Sean has any sponsors that we need to please. We're not F1. Look at him doing some happy little wobbles. Don't get too premature in that celebration, Sean. You are on camera. Someone warn this man. He's making me nervous.
It's alright, he's already crossed the start-finish line to take the first victory of the night. Sean Doyle taking a dominant victory over Dennis Hancock. 8 seconds the gap as they crossed the line. Matthew Brunt bringing it home on the podium. Tim Vaughan in a battle for first most of the race finishes in 4th place. Brodie Shepherd, despite a number of instances, finishes in 5th. Corey Bennett in 6th. David Atkinson in 7th. Sam Chapman had a scruffy race to end up in 8th. Daniel Johnson in 9th. And then David Milne rounding out the top 10 and taking home pole position for race 2 of 3 here at the ANZ ESeries tonight. Look at those gaps. Big gaps up and down the field.
Let me bring that back up so everyone can see those gaps. Yeah, it was the first lap was really clean, and we didn't, it's not a big field tonight, so we didn't really have any contact, but the whole heat seemed to be plagued with unforced errors.
Yeah, I think part of what we've seen might have been a difference in the amount of testing that the drivers have done coming into this race. I think a few of them might have been thrown in at the deep end at the last minute. Just decided, why not? Let's give it a crack. Let's get on there and see what we can do. But this is a car-track combination that's really hard to do that in. So it'll be interesting to see how they go second race. They've had 15 minutes of racing to get under their belt. Had time to get used to the car on the track. Wouldn't be surprised if the field tightens up a little bit this race and then tightens up further in our 3rd and final race of the round. Yeah,
I think we'll definitely see less mistakes as we go on, as people get more comfortable with the car and track combination. I mean, that's just fairly typical. So this is our reverse grid now. So Tim Vaughan right in the middle. 6th.
Yeah,
that's not a bad place for Tim.
it's certainly not a bad place for Tim. Like you said, he's well ahead of Sean Doyle, who was his main rival in terms of absolute outright pace here tonight. But Sean Doyle just showing that he's got a slightly better command of the car, able to keep it a bit cleaner. Got him the win in race 1. It'd be interesting to see what Sean Doyle can do coming through the field in race 2.
This is what I like, and I'll never... I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I will never stop singing the praises of reverse grid.
Green flag, green flag.
I love it in a series like this.
Oh,
and they're off. David Johnson in the lead of the race. He's got Sam Chapman in second place. Look how tight it is. Sam Chapman in that beautiful silver livery, looking to go with him through turn 1. So not able to do that. Corey Bennett in third. David Atkinson in 5th place. Tim Vaughan making up a position already. And David Atkinson falling down the field. So I think he's had some struggles, falling down all the way to 10th place. Didn't see anyone go off the road, so I think he's just got a bit squirrely and lost a heap of time.
Yeah, Doyle already on the move. He's up. He's up one space. I'll be interested to follow his progress through this. We'll bring some onboards of him as well. We can sort of see him in 9th, right at the back there. There is one more car behind him, but after a bit of a slow start, he's got a little bit of catching up there to do. Old David Milne.
Yeah, he certainly did not the start he was looking for all, but great start for Daniel Johnson and Sam Chapman. Brody Shepherd as well. He's just moving up into the podium positions in 3rd place. Hopefully he can have a cleaner race than he did last time around. No, still battling with Corey Bennett. Corey Bennett now takes the position back off of Brody Shepherd. Brody Shepherd falling all the way down to 5th. That's how tight this battle is. Look at the 3 cars on track. You can see them barely a hair's breadth between the 3 of them as they come and start finish straight. Brody Shepherd's going to get a lovely tow. Can choose who he follows, whether it's Tim Vaughan or Corey Bennett. Which ones he picks? He picks the car on the outside to give him a wider sweeping in line. But he's going to have a car on his inside that might compromise him.
I feel like that's a mistake. He trapped himself. He could have sat behind.
I know, but he's got it done.
Oh no, he's done it, and it's is that Corey that's fallen back? Or is that Sean? No, it's Sean at the back of this pack, isn't it?
Yeah, you got Sean in 6th place at the moment.
No, I was right. It was Corey at the back of that little.
Yeah, that is
pack.
Corey.
I feel like if
Corey's
if Brody had tucked in behind Corey instead of Brody, that he might have had the opportunity to make that move into turn 1, but he sort of got boxed in there. Well, Brody did make inside line. I mean, he did get it from Corey in the end, but I feel like he could have had a 2-for-1 there if maybe he had been following Corey on the inside line.
Yeah, you might be right, but I think it would have been a long shot. I think that he made a move stick on the outside, and I think that's most of what there is to that. As we watch Sean Doyle now making a move on Corey Bennett, lovely move down the inside. Absolutely textbook. It's going to have the inside line for the second part of this long right-hander, and now he can get after Brody Shepherd. And I'm sorry, Brody, but I don't think you're going to be in 4th place for long as Daniel Johnson and Sam Chapman swap positions. They're going free ride for the lead of the race. We've got a brilliant view on board with Sean Doyle. He's watching the free ahead battle. They're going to go free ride into corner 1. Who's going to come out the leader? Looks like it's going to be Daniel Johnson. No, Tim Vaughan's going to come back on the inside, gets a cut back. Is he going to be able to sweep into the next corner, or is Daniel Johnson going to be there? Sam Chapman can't do anything to take advantage of the situation. Tim Vaughan in 1st, Daniel Johnson in 2nd, Chapman in 3rd, and Doyle in 4th, looking to resume hostilities with Tim Vaughan. No, he's gone off. He's on the dirt, gets back on without losing too much time. Well handled.
Yeah, that's not going to cost him too much here. Like Sean is a comfortable 2nd faster than the 2 in front of him. I think the only real issue now is that Tim Vaughan has the lead of this race, and this is what I talked about before, that Tim Vaughan might just pull away while Sean is still battling.
Yeah, he might just. Daniel Johnson and Sam Chapman not the kind of drivers to lie down. I think what Sean Doyle will be hoping for here is that Sam Chapman launches an attack on Daniel Johnson, compromises the 2 of them, and Sean Doyle is able to get 2-for-1 before Tim Vaughan gets too far away. Only 0.2 seconds in the lead at the moment. So Johnson and Chapman well within slipstream range as long as they can get a good exit. But Sean Doyle's going to go up the inside. He's carried a bit too much speed. Was that contact there with Sam Chapman? I think there was. Riding on board, it's hard to tell, but it looked like there was a bit of a thud mid-corner there, and Sam Chapman now falling back behind Brody Shepherd and Corey Bennett. So regardless of whether they contact, that has not worked out well for Sam Chapman, falling all the way down to 7th place.
Now let's
Sean Doyle.
jump back in. You know what? We won't jump back because there's so much going on field at the moment that I really don't want to pull us away from this action.
Yeah, Sean Doyle now taking second place. He is now chasing down Tim Vaughan. That gap is only 0.7 of a second, so he's going to be well within slipstream range. Going to have to wait to see if Daniel Johnson can do anything about it. Looks to go up the inside into Budweiser balcony, but deciding better of it. So this is Budweiser balcony here, so that's sort of the entry to the Budweiser balcony complex. Brody Shepherd now getting amongst it, trying to get past, having a battle with Corey Bennett for 4th place. That's the 2 Vermilion cars you can see in the middle of the pack, and look how much closer this field is already. Very little field spread compared to race 1, which is what we'd like to see. 6 cars there, all within about 2 seconds.
Yeah, we have 8. We have 8 cars in a battle for first at the moment. There isn't more than a second between any one of these cars. In fact, there isn't more than half. Actually, no, there is. It's between Daniel Johnson and Sean Doyle. There is about 0.8, but looking further back, there's 0.4 seconds between all these guys between 3rd place and 8th.
Yeah, not much to choose between any of these drivers now that they've had a chance to get used to the car, get used to checking. That's a beautiful move on the outside from Brody Shepherd, taking the podium position from Daniel Johnson. So close to putting 2 wheels on the dirt, but judged it to perfection, just on the white line.
He might end up losing 2.
Yeah, it's dangerous around the outside there, but it's going to the inside for the next corner.
Oh, no!
There's contact! Johnson and Shepherd making contact on the straight. Shepherd span around, he's in the dirt. Johnson able to continue, but losing a couple of positions.
I'll be interested to see what the stewards have to say about that one. It looks to me on first glance as just a little bit of a racing incident, but we'll jump back and we'll bring that one to you again.
Yeah, let's have a look what happened here. Might have been a little bit of netcode getting involved there as they both went down the straight, but we'll know for sure in a second. So this is a little earlier in the lap. That's Brady Shepherd putting a move on Daniel Johnson around the outside. Daniel Johnson's going to hold it on around the outside. And as they come down the straight, they're going to tangle. And let's see if we can get to the bottom of what happened. So it's quite early on the straight. I wonder if Brody Shepherd just moved across a little bit lazily there. Perhaps not realising that Daniel Johnson was alongside, but it really helped out from that camera angle. So I'm really not sure what's happened there. And currently, Sean Doyle's in the lead of the race. Just going to call that out. Feels kind of important. Sean Doyle and Tim Vaughan side by side, going around Rabbit's Ear. And there you go, Sean Doyle's in the lead of the race. You said Tim Vaughan starting ahead might be an advantage, but it wasn't big enough because Sean Doyle has gone with him through the pack.
Gap on those guys while Sean was still behind, and Sean moved through the pack just too quickly.
Yeah, Sean Doyle in a rich vein of form here tonight, looking to make it 2 from 2, but Tim Vaughan's going to do everything he can to try and stop him, and we saw in the first race how closely matched these two drivers are. I don't think either of them is going to be able to pull out much of a lead before this race is over, and it's going to be about who has got the better racecraft from here to the end of the race.
Now, let's have a look. Is race control... We are getting a message from race control coming through any moment now. So they'll have all the angles on that incident, and they'll be able to tell us exactly what we can expect.
Yeah, that'll be live race control, just one of the number of benefits we offer to those that join the ANZ ESeries, along with, of course, the excellent racing going on track and the broadcast for every round of the ANZ ESeries, whether it's a Wednesday or Thursday night, the Formula 4, the GT3s, the NASCAR, or the GR86. We'll be here to bring it to you live in full, either myself and Mitchell on a Wednesday night or the Thursday night crew, if it's not us. And look at the racing that we have to offer with Sean Doyle and Tim Vaughan going at it. Sean Doyle moments away from disaster there, getting 2 wheels on the grass, managing to hold on to it, but surrendering the lead of the race to Tim Vaughan.
Now, we do have confirmation from the stewards. There is no further action between car number 55 and 44. They're saying that there was a penalty result self-enforced for car number 55, which I think their way of just saying is, we think you've punished yourself enough.
Yeah, that's good. Good to see people self-enforcing and doing the correct thing to try and be honest about when they were at fault, because it just makes race control's life so much easier, and it promotes the kind of racing we want to see in the series. Hard but fair, and we want to see people just accept when they make a mistake, admit to get jiggers up, and go punish themselves, because it just breeds the right kind of we want in here, and it keeps any retaliation to a minimum, right? When the aggressor goes and self-punishes. Lovely to see. Brady Shep just falling down to 9th place, having a day to forget so far. David Milne has stopped on turn 9, so he's had another incident and is currently off the back of the field in 10th place.
Not David's day, unfortunately, by the looks of things. But I will say, Corey has basically arrived and drive today. His first race of the day was not incredible. I believe he didn't even have plans to race. I spoke with him before this, and he wasn't going to race. It was my surprise when he turned up. And now he's battling for third. And he's mixing it with guys that race this series a bit more regularly. He said to me that he was just focusing on GT3 this series because he wanted to take that one a bit more seriously. But I can't say that I'm anything but impressed.
Yeah, no, just because you have when you have a main series, obviously you get used to that car, become a professional in that car, but it doesn't mean you're not proficient with every other car. If you're fast, you're fast. It doesn't matter what car you're in. And Corey Bennett just proving that here tonight with the company that he is keeping in his series. Sean Doyle. That's Sean Doyle doing slow. Down in 6th place, making a mistake into corner 1. What's happened there?
All right, let's bring you a replay of this one straight away.
All right, let's look at what's happened here. Sean Doyle in a tight battle with Tim Vaughan for the leader race, as he has been his want tonight.
Oh, has he just got himself a little? That was a weird bit of sideways movement there.
A note getting oversteer into the first corner, just carrying too much speed or putting a little bit more lock than normal, and then manages to get the car to the inside so that nobody else gets cleaned up in his mistake. But just an honest mistake from Sean Doyle, losing a bunch of positions because the field is so much tighter than it was in race 1. He's down in 6th place and has got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back to a podium position before this race ends in 8 minutes and 42 seconds time.
Yeah, that's a lot of movement. For Sean, like down the field and back up. So the man did 9 overtakes to get to the front of the field, and now he's got to do 5 more, which I guess will make him our biggest winner and our biggest loser.
Yeah,
but, kudos to Sam and Corey, or Corey falling back down through the order here. Just a little bit of a change of positions there.
There was a bit of a change in position between him and Sam Chapman in a move for 2nd, and all of a sudden Corey Bennett ended up in 4th. So I wonder if he got a little bit too aggressive and ended up making a bit of a mistake and just cost him a bit of time that meant Matthew Brunt was able to get ahead of him. But Corey Bennett getting a nosebleed is so high up in 2nd. That's Sam Chapman!
That's a big spill by Sam.
Oh, he did well to rescue that. Jesus, that car was about 90 degrees facing the wrong way and managed to pull that slide back.
What a great catch.
It was great, but it hasn't stopped him from losing a couple of positions that end up down in 5th place and off of the podium once again.
Dennis Hancock here going for a move on Corey Bennett up the inside. He does have the overlap. He is ahead right now. Is he going to look for another one here? Eyeing it off, playing it safe. Little bit of understeer there, just dragging him wide, and allows Corey Bennett to get that move done right back up the inside. But being behind Corey coming down this straight is not a bad place to be, and we'll see if he's got enough speed to make a move here, or maybe try a last-minute jump to the inside. Looks like he's just going to play it safe, which is, I think, maybe the sensible move to make here. But Sean Doyle, fastest lap of the race just there. That's... Is this an angry man, maybe?
Yeah, it's probably someone that knows he's got pace and is frustrated because he's made a mistake. It's taken him out of the race for the lead. The victory is gone when it was there only 5 minutes ago. And now he's trying to make amends, at least get back up to the podium positions. And you know what? I think he can do it.
Well, he's got a little bit of a battle in front of him. Oh, I almost thought we had some contact then between Sam Chapman and Dennis Hancock. But keeping it on straight and narrow, Sean Doyle. He's faster than these guys. He's got a little bit of work to do, and you know we've seen that these guys are pretty happy to battle and trip each other up, which is going to play nicely into Sean Doyle's hands here. He's already got that first overtake done.
Yeah, doing a really good job, Sean Doyle. He's one of the best racers in these type of cars that I've seen. He is very, very quick, always at the pointy end.
Oh, that's Corey Bennett going off on the left there. So that might be another free... Yeah, that's a free place for Sean Doyle by the looks of things. Corey just losing a bit too much speed, moving back over to put pressure on Sean Doyle. He's going to get that overlap. Ooh, you see how tightly he just caught up to Dennis in front of him?
He's got massive speed, hasn't he? Sean Doyle, just so much quicker than the cars around him. He has a mastery of these cars just beyond that of the drivers he's racing. And the only question now is, can he use it to get back to second place with only 4 minutes remaining? Well, he's got one position to go. And they've got wide. Matthew Brunt's got wide. Oh, it's brought it back though. I thought it was off into the dirt then. It's going to tuck back in here and then take a... No, not going to take a wide entry around Budweiser balcony. Keeps it tighter on the exit.
A little bit of oversteer there that he's managed to keep a lid on. This is some aggressive driving by Sean. Maybe even a little over driving this car, but I mean it's working for him. I'm not going to criticize the man too much because I cannot hold a candle to him in any car that I think has a steering wheel and four wheels. And that's it, Sean Doyle in working back into second place in this race.
Yeah. Brilliant, well deserved. Made a mistake at turn 1 and has put that to right. It's not going to be able to catch Tim Vaughan's battle for the lead. Gap now 7 seconds, but recovering second place, he will be good as long as he can hold on to it. You imagine he will unless he makes no mistake, but there's a brilliant battle going on behind Sean Doyle and Matthew Brunt. It's Hancock, Chapman and Bennett. They are side by side, Chapman and Bennett about to enter the first corner. Let's see what the positions are as they come through Castrol. Chapman on the outside, going to have the inside as they come around Rabbit's ear. That should be job done for Sam, unless Corey Bennett can hang it on around the outside and mount a maneuver on the entry into Budweiser balcony. He's trying to do it. Yeah, Sam Chapman not going to be able to come across now. Corey Bennett right there on the inside. He's going to get the inside here. Surely Sam Chapman to try and hang it on around the outside. Oh, there was a bit of contact, I think. Sam Chapman managing to make another fantastic save to keep it on the black stuff. In 6th place, lost about half a second to Corey Bennett in that exchange. And Corey Bennett,
the Corey Bennett, that's
letting him through.
That's a bro move, is what I'm going to call that. That's a straight redress by Corey Bennett. So hats off to him. That is some really top sportsmanship.
Yes, Corey Bennett obviously feeling like he drifted wide into Sam Chapman there, and that was what upset Chapman through that corner. Hard to tell from the camera angle we had, but Bennett's behaviour basically confirms that as what happened.
Now we're seeing the field start to break up a little bit more. We've got a battle left between, I want to say Matthew Brunt and Sean Doyle, but I think that's really maybe just Brunt holding on to what's left of that toe as Sean Doyle slowly moves away from it. And then we've got Sam Chapman and Corey Bennett, and I think this might be the one to watch for the rest of this lap. Oh, actually, yeah. Matthew Brunt, are we? What has happened here?
So Matthew Brunt in 3rd place, 0.8 seconds.
Oh, I read that as 0.0. That 8 was just so small on my screen, I couldn't quite catch it. And I thought perhaps Sean had made a mistake, or Matthew Brunt had pulled some pace out. So we'll jump back to Corey and Chapman here.
Yeah, Corey and Chapman are just heading to Monroe Ridge now. Corey in 6th, Chapman in 5th. That's all going to be battling for. There's a little bit of a gap from Chapman to Dennis Hancock, 1.8 seconds. Dennis Hancock putting pressure on Matthew Brunt for third place. 0.9 seconds between the two of them. 37 seconds left in this race, which means the next time they cross the line, they will start the final lap of this race, and it will be Tim Vaughan that will lead them at the start of this race. Tim Vaughan losing a heap of time to Sean Doyle. The gap now down to 4.4 seconds.
But we've got 22 seconds left in this race. This is we're starting our last. This should be white flag.
Yeah, this will be the white flag. Tim Vaughan having a poor lap, 1 minute 25.6, so he definitely made a mistake. Sean Doyle halving the gap to Vaughan, so just keep an eye on that. I can't afford another mistake. Vaughan, otherwise he's going to have Doyle right on his tail. Matthew Brunt now 1.3 seconds behind Doyle, slipping back a little bit, so Chapman versus Hancock is going to be the battle. Chapman versus Bennett even is going to be the battle to watch. That's what we've got on screen. Bennett putting two wheels on the dirt on the inside, trying to find the fastest line, reduce the distance that he's got to go around that corner because it is full throttle in these cars.
We'll quickly jump over to Dennis and Matthew here. They are just a smidge bit closer. Sam is starting to pull away from Corey now, and at the same time, Dennis is catching up to Brunt.
Yeah, he certainly is. Only half a second between, and that gap coming down over the course of the last lap or so. Not got long to go, though. Only the sweeper to go through, so I'm not sure he's going to do enough to get past Matthew Brunt, unless Matthew Brunt makes a mistake through this corner.
Yeah, this is Brunt's to lose, I think. There's just not enough in it. What a nice bit of catch-up here, but, 3/10 is just too much with, 400
and Tim
meters.
Vaughan crosses the line for the victory. Sean Doyle crosses the line now for second place, and it's going to be really close between the two of them, Brunt and Hancock, but Brunt's going to take third place, Hancock in fourth, Chapman in fifth, and Corey Bennett in sixth place. Sorry to cut you off there. Wanted to call Vaughan as he crossed the line.
No, of course, no problems at all, and we'll bring you the results of this race. Heat 2.
Tim Vaughan taking the victory. Sean Doyle recovering from a spin at the first corner to finish in second place. Looking forward to watching these two come through for 9th and 10th for the third and final race of the night. Matthew Brunt taking a strong podium in third place. Dennis Hancock in fourth, almost got him across the line, only a 10th between them at the end of the race. Chapman in fifth after a mistake at corner one, took him out of podium contention. Corey Bennett in sixth. Brody Shepherd in seventh, 32 seconds back after a incident in the heat of battle. Atkinson in eighth, David Milne in ninth, and Daniel Johnson down 2 laps in 10th at the back of the grid.
Now we are going to go to a quick break before the start of the next race. We'll be joining you shortly.
Hello everybody, we're back after a very short break in between heats 2 and 3. One more race to bring you here tonight. This is the schedule for the ANZ ESeries in week 4. As you can see, we're in race 3 of Formula Ford Wednesday. Tomorrow bringing you GR86 live from Circuit de Jerez in... That's the American flag behind it, but I find it hard to believe that's in America, is it?
You know, I feel like I should know this.
Is it? Surely not.
I promise you.
Anyway.
I promise you, people are going to be laughing at us.
Oh yeah, I would. As they should be. But we got 2 races to bring you tomorrow in the GR86. 2 20-minute races starting from 8:30. Broadcast will start just before qualifying, somewhere in between 7:30 and
Spain.
8:15.
It's
Probably around 8
in
o'clock.
Spain.
It is in Spain. That's what I thought. I was like, you know when you're like 90% confident, but then I could see the American flag and so I start doubting myself. I'm like, I'm sure that's in Spain.
Like, I thought, like, I saw Circuito de Jerez, and I'm like, okay, that's Spanish. But I thought, well, maybe it's like, like New Mexico, where there's sort of like a little bit of an overlap, and it's like right on the border there.
Yeah, and let's cut to the grid because they are lining up on the road as we racing for Heat 3 here tonight.
Green flag.
Or at least that's what my track map is telling me.
I'm only seeing that Corey Bennett is
So yeah,
out
they're
at the
off.
moment.
Johnson in first place, Atkinson in second, Shepherd in third, Corey Bennett in fourth place, according to my relative standings. Car 44 leading the way. Atkinson and Shepherd in the battle, only 2 attempts between them. And we got you live pictures again now, just taking a moment for everything to update. We got Sean Doyle in the middle of the pack. He's in 6th place already. Chapman in 5th place in that stunning chrome livery, similar to what the McLarens are going to be running at the F1 for Silverstone, with a half chrome livery, echoing back to their Ron Dennis years with a Button and the start of Hamilton's career, something that apparently Lando Norris has been asking for a long time. Anyway, I digress. Corey Bennett, we just saw getting past David Atkinson for 2nd place. Corey Bennett was getting a nosebleed. He was so high up in round 2 of tonight, and they are going slow.
Do we have a safety car?
I think we have a safety car, guys.
Is this our this might be our first safety car.
So there's been an incident further back. Looks like Tim Vaughan involved in that. No, not Tim Vaughan. Apologies. David Milne and Brodie Shepherd, I think, perhaps involved. David Milne 13 seconds off the back of the pack. Then you got Shepherd and Hancock a bit off the back of the pack as well.
I'll just get this timing screen working again. Bear with us, because I think what we're seeing here is some out-of-date information.
Yeah, I believe I've got one of my overlays giving me date information as well. Here we go. That's just corrected itself. So Daniel Johnson in the lead of the race. Corey Bennett in 2nd, Atkinson in 3rd, Chapman in 4th, Doyle in 5th, Vaughan in 6th, Brunton in 7th, Hancock in 8th, Shepherd in 9th, and Milne at the back of the field in 10th place.
Now, I believe we're still waiting for these guys to catch up to the back of the safety car. Oh, no, they looks like we've caught him. And it's just the stragglers we're waiting on now. With the legendary Orlando Black leading the race.
Yeah, leading the race for the first time here tonight. First time we brought out a safety car. Sorry we haven't been able to bring you footage of the incident that brought out the safety car. But interesting to see it brought out on the final race, a feature race, slightly longer than the other races at 20 minutes instead of 15.
Now, one thing that I am liking about what I'm seeing here is that we still have all cars on track. Despite a safety car, everyone is still in the race.
Yeah, really good thing to see, and I don't think anyone's got any obvious damage, so they'll all be able to continue. So I imagine a car must have ended up stalled in the middle of the track, and that was why we ended up with safety car. Easy to stall these cars, like you said. Got a clutch, got a H pattern. So stalling is definitely something that we will see here tonight, and then we may have seen it already. That might be why we have got this safety car.
Ah, stalling, you think? Oh, and Orlando Black has headed off, so we are on Daniel John to start this race whenever he's ready.
Yeah, so Daniel Johnson now controlling the pace that the pack will go off. Nobody can put the foot down until he does, and he will looking to try and get a jump on Corey Bennett behind him, and Corey Bennett will be trying to stay close so that he can launch a move into the first corner. Look at how close, you can tell how aggressive a driver is by how close they get to the car in front of them when they're in a situation like this. Some will prefer to leave a little bit of a gap, others will be right there with them.
Oh, and he's off.
And Sam Chapman right there with David Atkinson. That looks like that's going to be a move around the outside into turn one. Daniel Johnson getting a strong start, pulling away from Corey Bennett. Corey Bennett's not in a position to make a move, but Sam Chapman looking to sweep around the outside, take the podium position, and he does so. David Atkinson breaking early, deciding to be safe. Sean Doyle looking to go around the outside. Looks like he's going to have the inside going into Rabbit's Ear. If he can hold on to that, he will get into fourth place, and we'll have Sam Chapman next in sight. Tim Vaughan follows Sean Doyle through into fifth place, both making a move on the inside at Rabbit's Ear.
Now, a little bit of a gap here between Daniel Johnson and Corey Bennett in their fight for second. Half a second up on Sam Chapman and Sean Doyle. Although, you know, this is something that could change at any minute. But Corey's in a good position this race so far to maybe pick himself up a podium. I feel like he's been right on the cusp this race. I think maybe Heat 1 was not his race, but certainly Heat 2. If someone had asked me to put some money down on Corey Bennett podium, that's a bet I would have happily taken.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I think we're going to see a move here for the leader of the race, David Johnson, under immense pressure. No, sorry, Corey Bennett under immense pressure from Sam Chapman. That is not for the leader of the race, for second instead. You then got Sean Doyle and Tim Vaughan in fourth and fifth. They can barely be separated. They haven't barely been separated all night here, except for when one of them is at an instant. Fingers crossed they both have a clean race, and we can see who is the victor when they both have a clean race in race 3.
And that's Corey Bennett going for the move up on the inside. The only question here is whether or not these two are going to come together. Oh, that looks super tight. Like there was maybe the wheels were even interlocked going through that first corner.
Yeah, really tight there. I tell you what, the precision on offer in this race is immense. Not just from Vaughan and Doyle, who have been the pick of the field.
Oh, that's Sam going off.
Chapman, Shepherd, Brunt, everybody having their moments where they just do things with the car that feel like they should be impossible, getting the wheels on the white line and not over them. Some really impressive driving here tonight. That's Corey Bennett trying to...
That's Corey Bennett in the lead by
Apologies.
A comfortable half second.
I was actually... Who am I looking at then? Matthew Brunt is who I'm looking at in the Vermilion livery in the middle of all of that. Right behind Tim Vaughan, and he's got Sam Chapman up his backside.
I believe Matthew Brunt is down in 6th at the moment, about 2 seconds back from Sam Chapman.
Johnson.
Tim Vaughan.
It's Johnson, apologies.
Yeah, it's Tim Vaughan moving up.
Oh, there's a crash there. So that's Chapman,
Chapman
getting involved. A day to forget for Chapman. He's not had a clean race yet, and he's not going to get a clean race here tonight. Let's have a look what happened here. So he's coming from nowhere. He's so far back, just carrying so much more speed through that corner. So that's put him on the ballot back.
Oh, no,
he's
that's
only
just
got
interlocked wheels, and he's come off second best.
Yeah, carrying a bit too much speed through that corner, drifted out wide. Was left plenty of space on the inside, but instead just drifted wide, tangled wheels, and that was the end of his competitive racing for the night. Currently,
yep, I can't help but think that maybe, at least from first glance, I think that one's on Chapman.
So this is Bennett, Doyle, and Vaughan. Apologies, it was Vaughan in that battle pack. So Bennett, Doyle, and Vaughan, the top three in this race. Doyle in the middle in the orange and green car. Bennett, the leading Vermilion Motorsports car, with Tim Vaughan in third place. But that's changed now. Sean Doyle taking the lead from Corey Bennett. Tim Vaughan behind him. Tim Vaughan's going to follow him through. Bennett's going to be relegated to third position here, I think.
I feel like Corey just got out of their way.
Yeah, I think that would be a clever move from Corey Bennett.
Absolutely. He's got 3 seconds on Matthew Brunt behind him. If I were Corey right now, I'd be comfortable with a third, just sit behind Tim, sit behind Sean, and let them drag me up through the field.
Yeah, I'd be looking at this point to solidify third place, and then if I'm still there with a couple of laps to go, I can get involved. But I would just let these two do their thing and battle because they've shown so much pace all night. I think it's going to be hard for Bennett to get ahead and stay ahead. I think making an overtake just means pressure from behind until the end of the race.
You know, there's even you know what? I'm going to say that there's a 40% chance that we see a Bradbury moment. Where Sean Tim and Sean are great racers, but even great racers have incidents. And there is a pretty good chance that these two get tangled up and, you know, Corey Bennett finds himself in P1.
Yeah, and just a bit further back down the field, Brody Shepherd just having an instant spinning at the entry to Budweiser balcony and dropping all the way down to 8th place. So an evening to forget for Brody Shepherd. And he joins Sam Chapman, who's also had a bit of a messy evening. So hopefully the two of them can have some fun battling each other for the rest of this race. Only 1.3 seconds between them, with Shepherd behind Chapman, who is now in 7th place. This on your screens, the battle for the victory. Bennett, Doyle, Vaughan in reverse order. So Vaughan at the head of this field, trying to break the slipstream, wiggling around a little bit. Sean Doyle looking to send it all the way around the outside. Don't think he's going to get it done, but he's going to have the inside for the next corner. That could be the lead. That could be the lead.
It done.
Brilliant from Sean Doyle on the inside, around Rabbit's ear. Tim Vaughan's going to hang on around the outside. That'll give him the inside on the entry into Budweiser balcony, which they are approaching now. So they're entering the Budweiser balcony series of corners, and Sean Doyle relinquishing the lead for a moment there. Tim Vaughan going to take a narrower line around the balcony, and Sean Doyle, if anything, under more pressure from Corey Bennett than he is putting pressure on Tim Vaughan. I just didn't get that right.
I was watching Corey very closely through there, and he had an opportunity to move into second, but he didn't. He could have followed Sean through, but he gave it up. I don't think he's got any interest in getting himself too heavily involved in this fight. I think if he starts throwing his weight around in there, you know, he's only going to risk getting tangled up. And right now, despite the fact that, you know, these guys are battling and not exactly putting in qualifying laps, he's still gapping Matthew Brunt, and that's his battle. That's who's Corey's real fight here is. It's with Matthew Brunt 3.5 seconds behind, and again, these guys are just dragging him along through this.
Yeah, they are dragging him along, and he's happy to be the observer here. That's Brody Shepherd looking to get out of the way, I believe, running the Vermilion Motorsport liveried number 55. He's even to forget, going from bad to worse as he's just gone through the pit lane, and I'm just trying to find out whether that was a drive-through penalty or self-inflicted.
Was that the incident between Sam Chapman and...
So it looks like there was an incident between Sam Chapman and Daniel Johnson. Actually,
that's the one that we watched on screen. It's interesting because my first thought on that one was that was Sam's mistake for not holding his line through the corner. But you know the stewards have got all the angles, and I only saw that one on screen. So
no, that is
to them.
No, that's a separate thing. So that is Sam Chapman on your screen receiving a penalty for that incident. What I was talking about before was Brody Shepherd going through the pits, and I think that was just going through the pits himself, probably to fix some damage.
Oh, right. That's car 55, not 44.
Car
that
55.
was my mistake.
No, all good. I had speculated that he might have got a penalty for something because we didn't see his incident, but he didn't. He just was going through to get repairs. I am sure of it. Nothing from Race Control about Brody Shepherd, but a penalty for Sam Chapman from Race Control. His night goes from worse, because we said it went from bad to worse earlier, so it's gone from worse to even worse. Evening to forget. Oh, there's contact! Oh, all three of them are out!
Oh, no!
And that's Matthew Brunt in the lead of the race. So
right,
Matthew
Corey's
Brunt
back on track.
Tim Vaughan's back on track. Corey's back on track. Sean Doyle's back on track. Interesting to see what Race Control think of that. Sean Doyle going slowly. Is he looking to redress? No, he's going back up to speed. But Tim Vaughan loses out the least. He is the highest place of that original front three. In second place, only 0.7 of a second behind Matthew Brunt. And now in a great position to take the victory. Let's have a look what happened here. So that's Corey Bennett at the back. He's got Sean Doyle ahead of him, Tim Vaughan at the front of the field. Sean Doyle pulls out to the inside of Tim Vaughan. So he has his own... They all have their own incident. So Tim Vaughan spins in front of them. Sean Doyle spins trying to avoid Tim Vaughan. Corey Bennett spins trying to avoid the both of them. And Tim Vaughan, despite starting that, shall we call synchronized dancing, ends up the best place out of all of them in second place, and putting a lot of pressure on Matthew Brunt for the lead of the race.
Yeah, that's got to suck, because you see that happening, and we talked about this earlier. If you lift in one of these cars in a corner, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you can't, and it would have been very easy for Doyle or Corey Bennett to just plow into him and hope for the best, but they both had their own sympathy spin. And it was Tim Vaughan who was affected the least, and now he's in the lead of this motor race after taking the lead from Matthew Brunt, who would have been very happy to lead the race.
I mean, you've got to feel a little bit conflicted about that if you're Vaughan, right? I mean, if those guys... So, in terms of Doyle and Bennett, if you don't lift, you hit the car in front of you. If you do lift, you spin out.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because there's no penalty for making a mistake, obviously.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the stewards to pull any penalties there. Like, even if there was an accident, that would be just textbook racing incident. So I wouldn't even expect them to investigate this, and if they do, I'm sure it'll probably just be a racing incident. But I know, personally, I might feel, a little some way about that, making an unforced error that has taken a couple guys out of the mix, and certainly, I mean, Corey was looking really good there, and I was saying that, he was looking for a podium at the start of this race, and he was on for it too. So I think, Sean's had his win, Tim has had his win, but Corey has been hunting for a podium in all three of these heats, and I feel like he's the real loser here.
Yeah, I agree. He is the real loser here, and I think that's Brody Shepherd off the track there on the outside. Again, going from worse to even worse, plumb last at the moment, and I'm sure he's looking forward to getting a bit of sympathy from whoever is around him in his house after this race when he tells them of his woes.
This is where you go cuddle the dog, I think.
Yeah, I might even have to send Brody a message as my endurance racing partner.
A bouquet of flowers.
Oh, let's not go too far. It's his own mistakes. Just some words of sympathy, perhaps at most.
Everyone's love language is different. Sometimes words are all you need.
Sometimes words are all you need. And I agree, Donna. They are conjoined twins, are Vaughan and Doyle, but the most separated they've been all day, just about now. We're now on screen with Dennis Hancock. He's got Corey Bennett right behind him. Is that right? I thought that's not Corey Bennett. I think the graphic at the bottom is incorrect. Corey Bennett's running a Vermilion Motorsport livery. So that's Sean Doyle.
Yep, Sean Doyle leads. Dennis Hancock leads. It does say Corey Bennett, but that's not him.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is. It's a lapped car. It's a lapped car.
Of course, that makes sense. Okay, so that would be Daniel Johnson then, or Brody Shepherd?
It's not Brody Shepherd. Brody Shepherd's running a Vermilion livery, so I think it might be Daniel Johnson. It is car number. I'll tell you what car number it is in a second. It's Daniel Johnson, car number 44.
Of course. All right.
There we go.
Now we've got our heads sorted out now. And just another quick shout out to Sam Catacosinos. I hope I got that right. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, I can get you on the racing next time out. And for solving that mystery, I think we can call us Sherlock and Watson for the rest of the evening. It's elementary, dear Watson.
Who's? Oh, so I'm what? Okay, all right. I'm Watson. All right, sure, that's fine. I'll be the plucky sidekick, I guess.
Hey, I solved it.
Tell me how you really feel.
I solved it. You get to be the sidekick next time. You solve it next time. You can be Sherlock.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But which Sherlock are you? Which iteration?
Oh, surely it's got to be Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, I was really worried that you were going to go the other way on that one, because it is Benedict. It was so much. That Sherlock series was so good.
First 2 seasons in particular. But we digress. We've only got a minute left of the race. Tim Vaughan is in a healthy lead, 1.2 seconds over Matthew Brunt, and Sean Doyle in third. Stranded is Brody Shepherd.
Brody Shepherd, is he beached?
He's he's stopped once again, hasn't he? I don't know if he's beached or just given up. I think I'd give up at this point. So there's Tim Vaughan in first place, Matthew Brunt in second, Sean Doyle in third. Sean Doyle got Dennis Hancock only 0.7 of a second behind him, though. Sean Doyle's got some work to do if he wants to hang on to that. However, he has had magnificent pace all throughout the round, not always getting the results that he deserves, but a first and a second place in races 1 and 2 and looking for a podium here. But it could have been 3 victories, I think, had he not had a couple of incidents along the way.
Yeah, it looked like it was his own error in race 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. So they will be going on to the final lap now.
Now, I'm interested to see if... I don't think... No. We're probably going to be pretty static towards the end of this one. I don't see Dennis Hancock making a move on Sean, or Sean, ever letting that happen. And we've got Brunt's 3 seconds back from Vaughan, and Doyle's 3 seconds back from Brunt, as we go past the stranded Brody Shepherd again.
Yeah, Shepherd deciding he's gonna, you know what, I'm gonna watch the rest of the race from corner 3 and just take a ground view at the side. Obviously no spectators here, there's no stands for them to sit in. And you wouldn't want to stand on the outside of any of these corners, given the amount of spins that we've seen here tonight in the Formula Board. We thought it would be a tricky racetrack, and so it is proven, but it has not been too tricky for Tim Vaughan, who's coming round the sweeper right now, coming up to the final corner, gets onto the start-finish straight, and he will take his second victory of the night. Congratulations to Tim Vaughan. I imagine the round victor, and certainly the victor in race 3, our feature race, the 20-minute race here tonight. Congratulations. Matthew Brunt brings it home in second. Sean Doyle rounds out the podium spots, with Hancock putting up a resolute battle, but finishing in 4th place. Corey Bennett in 5th place after being in the podium positions for so long during the race. Just got caught up in that incident with Vaughan and Doyle. Atkinson in 6th. Chapman in 7th, recovering from an early spin. Milne in 8th, and a drive-through. Milne in 8th. Johnson in 9th, and Brody Shepherd. The less said, the better.
Now, I certainly hope a couple of the boys... I would love to have Sean and Tim and maybe Corey as well, in because I would love to have a chat to these boys and just get some of their post-race opinions, their thoughts. This track looked very, very tricky.
Yeah, it's a really difficult track, and because it's a track that a lot of drivers weren't over driven that much, like we said, they would have been learning it, and I think we were right. The field did compress throughout the 3 races. If you eliminate the incident, certainly in race 2, we had a lot of close action, and we've got Matthew Brunt waiting in to join us in the commentary box. So we'll bring him in, and we'll start the interviews. If I can actually do that. Give me 1 moment. There we go.
Oh. Welcome, gentlemen. How are we feeling? Matthew, we'll start with you. 2nd place in the feature race, and you were sort of in the mix throughout all 3 races for podiums. So how do you feel picking up 2nd place in the feature?
I feel like Bradbury. I don't know. I didn't really have the pace, but yeah, as you say, plenty of cars going off, and yeah, it sort of paved the way, and I made it through.
I know personally when I'm racing and, if I'm not on the pace and I end up finishing in a podium or, perhaps getting some positions that I don't feel like I deserved, I get a little bit of imposter syndrome, and I find it really hard to remind myself of something that I deeply believe, and that is, to finish first you must finish. And though, despite the fact that maybe you feel like you didn't quite have the outright pace to be challenging for podiums, or perhaps I feel like you definitely could have had third on pace, but certainly second. Sean and Tim looked like they were in a league of their own, but you kept it on track the whole race. You kept it clean, and you got the car across that line. And that's a merit in and of itself. So don't discredit yourself too much. I think that you drove a fantastic race.
Yeah, thanks, mate. No, it was good racing. Thanks to the boys. I was, like most people, probably trying to learn the track a little bit at the same time. So, yeah, working a few things out was, it's quite a tricky track.
That was actually my next question. One of the big takeaways that I got from Willow Springs was just the volume of unforced errors.
Yeah, there's even in a straight line, it's hard to go straight like those big sweeping corners. It's everything's sort of tricky there, and there's just the chance to go off the track so easily and loop it, or just spin around as you're backing off.
So we'll move over to Tim now. Tim, I think you're going to be the overall points winner for this race. How are you feeling?
I'm not sure about that. My first race was kind of a disaster. A lot of spins. I kind of drove like a weapon tonight, and I'm sorry to everybody caught up in my accidents. Sean and Corey, that was definitely a moment in the last race. I'm sorry about that.
No, all good. That was fun.
I was going to ask about. It's a bit of an uncomfortable question, but I was going to ask you about that one. A little bit of oversteer going into turn one, and poor Corey and Sean had to lift, and you know what it's like in these cars. If you're in midway through a corner and you lift, you just get snap over to steer and you lose the back end. But interestingly enough, was that you ended up being the victor in all of that, with Corey tumbling back down to I think 6th and recovering to 5th. And then Sean coming down to 4th or 5th and recovering to 3rd.
I mean, definitely not the proudest win of my life. If race control want to take a look at that post-race and give me a few extra seconds, I probably wouldn't be too against it, because it does feel like I sort of cheated myself.
About 4 seconds, I reckon.
About 4 seconds.
At least.
I think 4.202 is the exact number you're looking for there, Matthew, according to my timing screens, which would be enough to put you in first place. But certainly from where I was sitting at the desk here, I would be surprised if you were to receive any penalties from that. While there definitely is a certain cause and effect, I don't think there was anything that you did that I would describe as being malicious or negligent in any way. It was just a simple mistake in a corner, and I mean that's racing, right? This is what racing incidents are. Even if there had been contact, that was just a through and through racing incident. So unfortunate, but that's racing. Sean.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
Sorry, it's just such a. I made so many of those mistakes today as well, because it's such an interesting combo, because you really have to be kind of sliding the car through the corner to be extracting the most lap time out of it, and so when you just go slightly over that edge, and I definitely found that multiple times each race today. So it's a really fun, interesting combo to do.
But yeah, it's like, this is great. I would love to. I know it. Maybe it wasn't the most popular combination for tonight with the entries that we had, but certainly from a spectator point of view, it brought us some great close racing and lots of excitement on track. So I'm hoping that we see this one again. Now, Sean.
That was some great racing. Me and Tim I had a ball racing with Tim tonight. That was unreal.
You two were We were even talking about it in chat. You two just had it's like someone tied an elastic band between both of your cars, and the further away you got, the faster you came back together, and it was just there through all three races. The battles that we had, I think you guys probably dominated the screen time tonight. But I mean, kudos to both of you. I don't think you guys touched wheels once. That was super impressive.
Yeah, no, it was great fun, but probably 95% of us, that's the first time I've done the track 5 minutes before the actual race tonight, so it worked out good.
I think, looking at the sort of number of mistakes that we saw during around the track, I wonder if that was the case for a lot of people, where it was more of an arrive and drive. You know, if you're really comfortable with the car, I mean, you can do that. If you're passingly familiar with the track as well, you can just turn up, start setting laps, and sort of get the gist of it pretty quickly. Even if perhaps mastery of it might elude you until you've got a couple of hours with a lap time thrown in. But did you feel like it was coming to you towards the end? Because it definitely looked like you had race 3 looked like your cleanest and least mistake.
Except for the incident with Tim, but anyway.
Well, I don't know that I would blame you for that. I wouldn't blame Tim. I wouldn't blame Tim, but I also wouldn't blame you for it.
Oh, yeah, I'm not blaming any of us. It was just one of those mistakes that involved all three of us. I don't know how none of us hit each other.
You guys should go back and watch that. Because it was synchronized. You and Corey must have had the exact same reaction times because you both lift and spin at the same time, and it was just watching a beautifully choreographed ballet as you both spin off of the screen.
As long as we keep it entertaining. But one thing I did notice about this track, the ripple strips, as soon as you touch one of those ripple strips, you get wheel damage. My third race, towards the end, I had wheel damage.
Oh, right. Okay. Where did you pick that one up? Was that as you were coming through the pack in lap 1 or 2? Because I think I saw you hit a ripple strip on the inside of that. I don't know what the name of the corners are, but it's like that little uphill left-right. Was that it?
Yeah, and it bent the wheel. So most of that race, I had a bit of a bent wheel.
Yeah, we talked about that before the stream started, that there's not a whole lot of curbs on this track in general, but the ones that are there are savage, especially on these really light Formula Ford frames. Yeah,
no, but hey, I pulled it off. I had I think a pretty good night's racing tonight, so I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the point score is really going to reflect the performance that you put in tonight, but it's probably my fault for putting you on screen, quite frankly.
The second race, I got a bit too cocky behind Tim and was swerving all over the place, then lost at the next corner.
We saw that. We caught that on the replay on stream, and I saw you go and jinking left and right. You lost it a little bit, recovered, but then I don't know what happened when you hit turn 1, because you looked like you had the car settled and back under control.
Yeah, I had it back under control, but then it just kicked out, and by that stage, I think 4 people passed me.
And what do you think caused what? In your opinion, what caused the oversteer that led you going off?
Me being over cocky and not having the right line.
Oh, right. So you got the car settled and balanced. You just maybe weren't as far back over on the racing line as you would have liked to have been. So when you turn in, the rear is just non-compliant.
Yeah, I was just chilling out behind Tim, and I thought, I'll just swerve around the place so I don't get his draft, and we can just go into the corner together. And yeah, that sort of didn't work.
So I'm having a look at our standings from last week, and so Sean, you, as of last week, or last fortnight, you were leading on 128 points. Then 12 points back, Tim Vaughan, then Ben Miles, Matthew Ridley, Matthew Brunt. I would like to see, I don't actually know the point scoring, and I don't have a live update of it, but I have no idea.
It'll be pretty close to after tonight, I think.
I think.
What did you come in the first race, Tim? You came 5th, didn't you?
I came 5th. So
there we go. Yeah, it's going to be pretty close, yeah.
yeah, there's not going to be a whole lot in it between you two. Sean, I think you might retain the lead just on the balance of the points that you led coming into this, but this is going to be a close series. We've got 4 races left in this season.
Yep. So it should be a good one. Looking forward to it. If anything goes by tonight, that was some great racing.
I have no doubt that we're going to expect plenty more. And just a quick update on your mother. How is she doing? She was in chat with us again tonight.
Mate, she loves joining in. She loves all you boys and watching the racing. She's doing great, mate.
Back out of hospital now, I hope?
Yep, she's home with me, man.
Oh, that's
that's
fantastic. That's a story that we love to hear. That's brilliant. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here. Congratulations to both of you, and I can't wait to see more battles from you guys next fortnight.
Yeah, cheers, Jensen. Cheers, team. Great racing. And cheers, Vermilion, and all you boys. Great job.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay, so we've thanks to all the drivers that joined us here, and as always, I'll let you take the reins on the interviews, Mitchell, because I think you're an absolute natural of it. So thanks for bringing us those insights from the drivers that joined us here after the race. And if you're a driver watching this and you'd like to join us after the race, please just hop into the broadcast channel in the Discord, and we will chat to as many drivers as show up after every round.
I do wish that perhaps we had got Corey in. I would have loved to have got some thoughts from Corey.
Yes.
Although he might be in a corner somewhere, rocking backwards and forwards after race 3.
Yeah, I think you might be right. If you want to hear the voices of me and Mitch again, you can catch us next week when we bring you the 3rd round of the GT3 Championship, the halfway mark of the season. That'll be at the normal time on Wednesday night. If you can't wait that long for more ANZ ESeries action, I highly recommend you tune into the GR86s tomorrow night from Circuito de Jerez, which is in Spain and not America, as that graphic might suggest. Coverage will start from around 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and that'll be Connor Nixon and Orbistella bringing you that coverage. Until then, I'm Liam Banks, alongside me is Mitchell Patterson. From everybody here at ANZ ESeries, good night.